I thought you were someone else.
Hello everyone, from me Alan. Today we're doing the final resting place of Diana Dors. But before we go there, I thought I'd show you where she used to live. And this is Orchard Manor. We can't really see the house. We can only see the gates, but you can see it's quite grand. It's in a very posh area, look. See? So there we go. So we're heading on our way back down to see Diana Dors' final resting place. See you in a moment. Okay everyone, here I am now at Sunningdale Cemetery. It's up a little quiet lane, and this is where the final resting place of Diana Dors is, and Allen Lake. So actually it's quite a little small tranquil place to say you're so close to London. Look, I'll show you. There's another little sign there, Sunningdale Parish Council, 1973. Okay, so that's the graveyard there. Not big, is it? So we're going to be great finding it. Yeah. So Diana Dors was often said to be the British Marilyn Monroe, or Jayne Mansfield. Yeah, Jayne Mansfield. But she used to say she didn't like that because she was herself. You know, to kind of make out that she was like a British version of somebody else wasn't really right. You know, she was her own star. She was a talented dancer, actress, singer with amazing confidence. Maybe not the most amazing skill at picking the right men, unfortunately, which we'll go into in a minute. She had that X factor. She had that. I always think she was a bit like Mae West, but maybe other people don't say that. You know, she had those little jokes, and she could do the corny sexy joke thing and make it work. So let's get into it anyway. We're gonna find her grave together. So I've seen the picture, so we're gonna head in and find it now. She was very, she said when she was younger she wanted to be a star with a cream telephone and a swimming pool in Hollywood, and she set out to do that. Really, she was very confident. I think that's the best way of putting it. Very confident, and things set her back, which you'll hear in a second, but it didn't stop her. She started at the age of 14 at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, and she was the youngest one at 14. I think maybe she lied about her age, you know. And after she'd finished all her training, she did a film. The first one was A Shop at Sly Corner, 1947. Must be near the airport because they keep going over. So let's have a little look around together. I'm actually going to check out the top half first. She was an extremely accomplished actress, not just comedy. One of her first roles was Yield to the Night, 1956, about a woman on death row. I've seen it a long time ago. Fantastic part. I think she went home and watched it and said, that is an amazing role I've done there. And it was, you know. Not a lot of people could have done that. She was a really good actress. And then move on to 1972. She did The Amazing Mr. Bundle, and she was made up with warts. Her hair looked terrible. She was a really ugly person on it. You couldn't tell it was her, but the power of her character came out, and that's what made her that extra special actress. And yeah, she was great. She was a great actress. She changed her name from Diana Fluck to her maternal grandmother's name, Dors. It was something about the fact it began with a D. It was more memorable, but more importantly, she always joked that if one of the letters went out, it could be quite upsetting, if you know what I mean. Think about it. Actually, it's very funny, that, and I like that. Typical of her, that. Typical. Can't really see it here. I think I'm just going to have to wander. Lonely as a cloud. So what happened is, her first boyfriend, she got pregnant, and he wanted her to have an abortion. And then he got arrested and thrown in prison. And whilst she was in prison, she met Dennis Hamilton. Now, he was a bit of a wide boy as well, you know. And he became a manager. So she ended up marrying him after 5 weeks. It was a bit of a whirlwind romance, but they got married. And he did manage her, But the problem was she went over to America because she got these ideas of stardom in America, and she was doing well, but there was a bit of a scandal because they had sex parties. Not that I don't think that damaged her career, you know, one-way mirrors and drugs and alcohol and all that sort of stuff, cameras. And so I think she used to like to watch the films and things, so, you know, she wasn't a sort of timid person, was she? But the thing was that during a party, they both got pushed into a pool. He got out and punched one of the reporters, and I think that's what wrecked her career in America. And she came, so basically he stopped her career in America, and she came back. But rather than being beaten, typically of Diana Dors, she came back with gutso, took on the British, and became a British icon instead. It was while she was in America she went on a show, and it had a comedian called Dickie Dawson, and they started an affair, and that led to the end of her and Hamilton. So she divorced Hamilton, but unfortunately he died very young. I think it was 2 years later. I think he was age 33, but I could be wrong there. And she went on to have her first child with Dawson. But the problem was that because of her exit from America, her career had finished there. She came back to England to reinvent herself and start again. But he stayed in America, so the long distance relationship and not seeing a child caused friction, and they ended up getting divorced as well. But she carried on. She had, in England, she started a cabaret act, and she was good, you know, she could come on. I think they used to say she would talk for 45 minutes and then she'd start to sing. She was really good at entertaining the people, and that was good. She always insisted on being paying cash, a bit like Ken Dodd really, if you remember. And it came back to bite her that, because later on the Inland Revenue came after her and she had to pay a big tax bill. Shame, eh? I remember a career in 1970. She did Queenie's Castle, which was filmed in Leeds from 1970 to 1972. And I remember thinking it was quite good. She was good at saucy humour, you know. She had a good timing. She was really funny. But she did quite a lot of sort of sexy-based comedies. The Amorous Milkman and things like that, blah, 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 you know. She was ideal in those parts, really.
I have not got a sharp tongue, and what the hell's it got to do with you anyway?
You see, you can't take criticism, that's your trouble.
What do you mean I can't take criticism? Don't you tell me I can't take criticism, or I'll knock you right through that flaming wall.
I remember later on, as she got older, she used to be on Breakfast TV. She did this weigh-in with Nick Owen every week, and she was losing weight really well. And Nick Owen said he couldn't understand how she was doing so well, sort of, you know. She seemed to be losing pounds and pounds every week. Then there was a suggestion that she'd put weights in the dress, you know, and then bit by bit the weights came out, and every week she was doing oh so well. It was never proven that, so it was only a story. She did have health issues. In 1974 she got meningitis, and they said she almost died, but she came back from that. But unfortunately it was very sad really, because she then developed ovarian cancer. They did operate on her. They said it was a success. So she died on the 4th of May 1984 at the BMI Princess Margaret Hospital of ovarian cancer. Poor Diana, what a shame. Alan Lake never really got over Diana's death, and you could see he was distraught at the funeral. He was a broken man. And 5 months later, he just hadn't got over it. He did, on the day, an interview for Jan Ruck of the Daily Express. Then after that he took a shotgun, went into their son's bedroom, who was called Jason, put the shotgun to his mouth and killed himself. Unbelievable, isn't it? Absolutely unbelievable. The poor son, can you imagine that? You know, to have lost his mother and then his father in his bedroom. You just can't comprehend that, can you really? You really can't. And unfortunately poor Jason ended up killing himself also on an overdose of alcohol and tramadol 3 days after his 50th birthday. Phew, it's too much, isn't it? It really is. Diane Mary Fluck was born in Swindon, Wiltshire on the 23rd of October 1931 at the Haven Nursing Home, Kent Road, Swindon, Wiltshire. Her mother, Wilfrid Maud Mary, was married to Albert Edward Sidney Fluck, a railway clerk. May had been having an affair with another man when she announced she was pregnant with Diana. She admitted she had no idea if the other man or her husband was the father. At the age of 15, Diana Dors signed a contract with J. Arthur Rank Organisation and joined Arthur Rank's Charm School for young actors, subsequently appearing in many of their films. When she was a young woman, her boyfriend was jailed and she was undergoing her first abortion. Diana met Dennis Hamilton Gittings in May 1951 while filming Lady Godiva Rides Again for Rank, a film which has uncredited appearances by Joan Collins and 4 months pregnant Ruth Ellis. Dors described herself as the only sex symbol Britain had produced since Lady Godiva. The couple had been married 5 weeks later in Caxton Hall on Monday the 3rd of July 1931. In 1954, her husband Hamilton had the idea of exploring the newly printed technology of 3D. He engaged a photographer, Horace Roy, to take a number of nude and semi-nude photographs of Diana, which Hamilton subsequently had published into 2 forms. The semi-nude pictures were issued as a set called Diana Dors 3D, the ultimate British sex symbol, which was sold together with a pair of 3D glasses. The full nude test photographs became part of Roy's booklet London Models, 1954. Police pressed charges alleging that the books were obscene, but a court ruled that they were not. Diana's third husband, Alan Lake, was born in Stoke-on-Trent, Staffordshire, on the 24th of November 1940. He studied acting at RADA and began to work on television roles in 1964. He was best known as the third husband of actress Diana Dors, who he had met on the set of the 1968 television series The Inquestors. He was initially not keen on Diana. His reactions on finding that he would be working with her was, "Oh no, not Madam Tits and Lips." But within days they had fallen in love, and they were married on the 23rd of November 1968. Their stormy marriage produced a son. Diana Dors was married 3 times in total. Dennis Hamilton Gittings, 3rd of July 1951 to the 3rd of January 1959, when he died. They were married after 5 weeks at Caxton Hall. They had no children and lived in London, Berkshire and Hollywood. Richard Dawson, 12th of April 1959 to 1966, divorced. They were married in New York. They had 2 sons, Mark Dawson and Gary Dawson, and lived in London, New York and Hollywood. And Alan Lake, 23rd of November 1968 to the 4th of May 1984, when he died. Married at Caxton Hall, 1 son, Jason Lake. Lived at Orchard Manor, Sunningdale, Berkshire. Okay, look, we've done all the rounds now, and I'm going to spin you around because I think I've actually spotted it from the back. I'm going to come this way around now. I wanted to finish that little speech there before I came round, but I know it because the slanted stones of the headstones match, and we've got it. It's quite exciting. She was a wonderful, charismatic performer. She was an icon for Britain, for sure. Hello Diana, it's fantastic to be here. And here we are at a British icon, Diana Dors. How wonderful. That is lovely, look. She's got fresh flowers, and actually Alan Lake has also got fresh flowers, look. Yeah, and they've got some pots. I do love it when they've got flowers there. God, I keep kicking myself I don't bring some. I'm going to start to do that for sure. Okay, let's take the grave and read it. Here we go. Always remembered, Diana Dors Lake, 1931 to 1984. Forever loved. Only a whisper away. And it looks like a little fan there has done a painting. Have a look. I've got to say it's not the most complimentary one I've seen of Diana. She was a beautiful woman. Voluptuous is the word, isn't it? Yeah, that's great. That's super. Diana Dors, I did watch you a great deal. I loved your programmes. I liked Queenie's Castle. I didn't realise the extent of your career at the time, but you were a great icon and a very determined person. Well done. Okay, and this poor chap, I'm afraid, it's sad how he ended himself, but he obviously loved her, didn't he? Love's Last Gift, Remembrance, Alan Lake, 1940 to 1984. Together forever, only a whisper away. That's what it says. I've just seen that, look. Somebody has put little LED lights there, look, with a solar panel. Can you see? Isn't that lovely? What a nice thought. I'm sorry for you, my friend, as well. You obviously loved it, you could see that. To have done that, you must have been extremely depressed. Well, it's a lovely spot, is this. If you're gonna, you know, have a look how lovely and quiet it is. There's a nice tree there, some seats. Very, very small, very peaceful. Sometimes you feel a little bit sad when you're leaving, don't you? Because you've kind of watched them and known them, and you go in now, it's like leaving a sort of friend, isn't it? Thank you, Diana, thank you very much. Well, I've got a shiver. I've got a shiver, I promise you. It's true. So I think what we've got to remember about Diana Dors is not the black stuff at the end, it's the fact that she was a very determined, successful woman, multi-talented, and you've got to admire her. She had that X factor. And whenever things hit her, you know, like the American thing when she had to leave, or the Inland Revenue, which of course she caused herself, but she fought back. She was determined never to be knocked down. And she was, she had the X factor. She was talented in every direction, a sex symbol, a sexy woman, full of humour, and what a life. So that's what we've got to remember about her, not the sad bits, which she couldn't really avoid, could she? Let's face it, you know. She nearly died with meningitis, and then she did die with cancer. She said cancer had picked on the wrong person, it picked on her, but she couldn't beat that. Nobody can really, can they? So let's celebrate her life and send a thought to her now. And enjoy every moment, because it don't go on forever. Let's grasp every moment we can and make the most of what we can. And I want you and everyone else out there who's watching it to enjoy your day as much as possible. Make the most of it like she did. So from me, I'll say goodbye to you all. Alan saying goodbye from MotorHome Beep Beep. See you again soon, I hope.